How's everybody going? Hope well. And as it's going well, I hope you put your cross on, because you need it. You know, you have to face this evil world. You're going to see some good things, you're going to see some bad things. Keep your armor on. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Amen and amen. You know, Lord, people, sometimes I feel like I'm on constant spiritual attack, on constant spiritual guard. That's one reason why I say keep your armor on. Because, when I didn't live for God, I didn't know how the enemy works. I didn't know. I knew you weren't supposed to trust some people, and you can. Actually, I thought you could trust almost anyone. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you give your life to God, everything changes for the better. But at the same time, everything changes for the better, but your eyes are open to things that you really never wanted to see. You understand what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna give a portion of my testimony right now, and it's a subject I don't really like to talk about. So I just want to let y'all know a little something about me as a man, Houston McCullum Beard Jr. You understand? I'm from Mobile, Alabama. You know, raised up in a home. My mom and my dad weren't married, but they stayed together. They stayed in separate rooms. They never were married. You know, I'm happy I grew up with both my parents, but it wasn't in a marital home. You understand? I joined the Marines at 18. You know, I'm the youngest child of 7. You know, my life wasn't the perfect life, but I was the baby, so I kind of got spoiled a little bit by being the youngest child. You understand? But that's enough about my backstory. Let's go forward to a little forward. You know, upon getting out the military, you know, I was planning on re-enlisting. Things went wrong. I got out the military, and I met a woman. I remember this like it was yesterday. And I met a woman, and I was like 23, I think. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't from Mobile. She was from a place called Alexander City, Alabama. And, you know, I remember I met her through my cousin. And my cousin was like, I know a girl that want to meet somebody new. And I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. I got out the military. The last thing I wanted to do was settle down. I wanted to be, I'm going to say, be real. I wanted to be a whore. I'm like, man, I'm not finna settle down. I'm finna just enjoy my life, man. I've been under bondage in regards to the military for 4 years. I'm finna get out. I'm finna be free. You know what I'm saying? And I met a woman, you know, and when I met her, I mean, we talked on the phone a lot, and I was like, I don't know, I wasn't really in love with her, but we clicked, and she was just so open, and I was so open, and we talked a lot. And she was like, I'm coming into town. I want to meet up. So I met up with her. And I'll be honest with you, I slept with her the first day. You know, we hit it off. You understand? Next thing you know, she said, so I'm pregnant. I was like, whoa, this is not what I wanted. You know, she said she got pregnant. But let me tell you a little more backstory. I'm up with the Christian faith. Even though I didn't know truly what a Christian was right then, but I was raised in the church, I'm up the Christian faith. And she told me straight up, she was like, hey, I'm pagan. I'm a witch. I do Wicca. But I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, well, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. You know, it didn't, but I saw something in her that, even though she was pagan, I saw that she was a good person, you know. So I got the opportunity. I couldn't find work for nothing. You know, I'm out the military. I'm like, man, the military told me I wouldn't be able to find no job. So she used to tell me, she was like, you need to come up here and live with me. I was like, well, I got this one job, last job offer. I said, if this job don't come through, I'm going to move with you. The job came through. I was working at Kmart. If anybody remember, I got a job at Kmart. and I'm working at Kmart, and I'm like, I meet a girl. Now keep in mind, I'm dating someone, and she's pregnant with my daughter. I wasn't really ready to settle down. I ain't gonna lie to you, and so she was pregnant, and I started seeing someone else. I'm gonna put it in my mindset then. It was cheating then. You know what I'm saying? Because I was with her, but I couldn't lie. She just felt something was off, and I'm like, man, I got to tell the truth. So what I did is, before she had the baby, I told her that I fell in love with someone else. I met someone else. Oh man, that's probably one of the worst things I ever did in my life. To this day, to tell someone that you have pregnant, that you have another woman in your life. But I told her. She cried, and I cried, and I broke up with her. But we stayed in contact. I still came and visited her every once in a while. And then my daughter was born. And I remember I went to get my daughter to have her stay with me for a while. And then it's like all hell broke loose. She was like, you're not going to take my daughter around somebody else. And she drove 3 hours away to come get the baby, get my daughter. And let's put it this way, it didn't go well. But I remember during this time period, she was like, I just wasn't feeling right, man. Like the girl who I thought was the one, that thought I was gonna make it with, it wasn't. It was more of a lustful thing, And I remember my ex-wife. She wasn't my wife, but I'm saying my ex-wife. She was telling me at the time. She was like, "I've been praying for you." She was like, "You're gonna come back home." I said, "How did you pray for me?" She was like, "I look at your picture, and I pray for you." And she said, "My mom told me that you was gonna come back." I'm like, "Okay," But I remember one day she came down to Mobile, and we was just talking. I was like, "Man, I gotta go." I said, "I'm finna move on." And I asked my dad, who was alive at the time, I'm like, "What do you think I should do?" He said, "Move and be with your family." You know what I'm saying? So I took my dad's advice and I moved out of town. And everything went kind of smooth after that, I remember she had told me, she was like, "I never get back at you for what you did." Now keep that in mind. That's important to the story. So I get up there. I finally get a job up there. I'm working. Everything's going good. She had good credit. We got a house. We moved into the house. She already had a son. You understand? So we got 2 kids. Her mother stayed with us. You know what I'm saying? And everything's going good. I'm going moving up the chain fast at my job. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting prideful and boastful. I'm like, and then she was telling me a lot of things, and I'm kind of stopping believing in Christ. Like, I believe, but I was like, it's got to be other ways. But I think that's partially because of her mentality. I'm not saying she forced me or tried to convince me to change, but she was very convincing and helped me understand that there are other gods and this and stuff like that. Okay, well, long story short, I'm moving up the chain. Everything's going well. Cars, house, new furniture, everything's going well. She's getting paid well. I'm getting paid well. Then hell just started breaking loose, man. I was really a really super heavy drinker back then. I was in marijuana real hard, you know, over sexualized, love pornography, you know what I'm saying? But I started experiencing spiritual warfare for the first time in my life. I started seeing things, tall, dark, shadowy figures. I would take photos, and I would see demonic entity. I saw a demonic entity. I can't find this photo to save my life, but I saw a demonic entity floating in the photo, and I was like, "Look at this! Do you see this?" And I remember my wife and everybody I showed them, like, see, I even posted it on Facebook, and that's why I'm saying I can't even find it on Facebook. Facebook might have moved it, but I was like, "Man, look at this," and everybody was like, "Wow, I see it! I see it! I see it! That's crazy." So, long story short, I'm going through heavy duty spiritual warfare. You know, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was very addicted to marijuana. And a lot of people say when you're addicted to marijuana, you can't get skinny on marijuana. Well, let's put it this way. I did. I wanted my high to stay going. I had to wake up, smoke. You know what I'm saying? I had to stay sane. I had to have it. But didn't have it, I was frustrated. I was mad. And I didn't realize this for like probably weeks. I was losing weight. So I'm a pretty big, not big, but I'm a pretty big, healthy guy. You know what I'm saying? But I had went from like 240 to like 210 in like a matter of moments. But I didn't realize this until I weighed myself after the fact. But anyway, so I didn't realize I was fasting. This is crazy. I didn't realize it, but I realize it now. Because I was so open up to the spiritual realm at the time. And what happened was, I started doing crazy things. Like I was so paranoid. I had voices going into my head, all kind of things going on. Me and my girlfriend, we never were married yet. But we stayed together. We got a house, and we were just arguing all the time. And I was extra paranoid, and I did some crazy things. I remember one thing I did when I was going through spiritual warfare. When I remember when the day I gave my life, the day before, 3 days before I gave my life to Christ. I remember she had started working, and I was out of work. And I was just so paranoid and so nervous. I thought she was cheating with everybody on the planet. I'm like, man, look at this. Check this out. I'm like, she got to be cheating on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't control nothing. I was just, every thought that came to my mind, I thought was real. I'm like, man, she's cheating on me. She's cheating on me. And I remember one day, what happened. Forgive me for what I'm about to tell you, and it's the truth. I can't lie about it. I remember one day she went to work. And I was just, my voice, I was so bad and paranoid and going through so much spiritual warfare that I would follow her. I would drop off at work and then pass by the job constantly, try to be extra watchful. I was just out there that bad. And I don't think it had nothing to do with the drugs or nothing like that. It was just, my mind was being crowded. Now, keep in mind, she's pagan, I'm Christian, on the verge of being converted. All right. So, this day, I called her and I was like, I'm coming to pick you up from work. And I remember, I'm telling you what I did. It's probably one of the worst things, second worst things I ever did to somebody before. Because I thought she was cheating. I was like, man, she's like, I can't be cheating on you because it's my menstrual cycle. I was like, will ever show me? I made her pull down her pants. I'm being real. I made her pull down her pants and show me in the car.
Continue for 8 miles.
That her menstrual cycle was on. I remember this like it was yesterday, man. It's probably one of the worst things I ever did. You understand? And I'm just being honest with y'all. I want y'all to know about me. You understand? Know why I do what I do. So after that, I went home and I took her home and I was like, lay down and be comfortable. And but she was scared of me. She was afraid of me, very afraid. And because of how I was acting. I always thought something was after me, and I just, that day, I broke down and I started praying. And I was like, Jesus, what is really going on in my life? Why am I going through so much pain and suffering? Why is this happening to me? And he told me to look at the bookcase in my bedroom. And I looked at the bookcase. He's like, that's your problem. Now, remember what I told you. She's pagan, I'm Christian. So I looked at the bookshelf, remember witchcraft books about horoscopes and all this stuff and witchcraft spells, rituals, all this stuff. He was like, that's why you're going through what you're going through. Right? So I was like, I woke her up. I was like, I got to go back home to my hometown in Mobile. And she was like, I said, I need you to take me there now. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew my mom was a God-fearing woman. And I wanted to go home to mama. I was a mama's boy then. You know what I'm saying? Long story short, my dad had already passed a few years prior, so I didn't have my dad anymore. So I had to go home and see my mother. And I remember right when I was going through all this and I did all that stuff and made her do what she did, I remember her family member showed up, was like, we thought something was wrong with you. We thought you were dead or something. And I'm like, why would you think that? I remember thinking that in my head. Why would you think that? Yeah, I know I was a little crazy and off the rocker right then, but why would you think that? You know what I'm saying? But all of them showed up at my house at right that time. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna tell you this much: birds of a feather flock together. All right then. Okay. So I packed my bags up. She dropped me off at my brother's house, and I was still smoking weed at the time, heavy. And I was like, I'm gonna bring me some weed. I wanted to get me some weed before I left because I felt I needed some weed. So I went to my brother's house and he smoked, and I was like, I said, roll this blunt for me. You know what I'm saying? So she had already left for a minute back, and I rolled a blunt and I smoked it, and I started walking down the stairs. And when I got down to his kitchen, I done smoked weed plenty of times, but this ain't never happened to me. So I'm walking down the stairs, I get to the kitchen, the whole room changes to another room. And I see a vision. I see me fighting against people with dark eyes and people in Alexander City where I was. And I'm like, I see all this evil, and like people after me. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. And then right after that, I hear my brother coming down the stairs. And then the room cleared up. As fast as it started, it ended. And I told my brother, I said, man, I don't feel right, man. I said, I need to call my mother right now. So I called my mom. And when I called my mom, because I was staying out of town, I was out of town for years. And I called my mom called my sister then. So everybody came to the house, to my brother's house. And I'm just like, oh man. And I told my mom, I said, I need you to pray for me. I remember what God showed me there, and it all makes perfect sense. So I was like, are you going to church Sunday? I said, I need to go to church with you. You understand? And she was like, yeah, you can go to church with me Sunday. And so like, I think it was a Friday. So Saturday, she called. She was like, I'm not going to church, but my sister, your sister is. You can go to church with her. So I was such in a hurry to get to the church. I told my sister, I said, come pick me up right now. I gave the weed to my brother. I'm like, I don't want no more of this. Because after what I saw, I'm like, good Lord, this is crazy. So my sister come pick me up. I couldn't wait to go to church that Sunday. And I went to church. And before I even stepped into church, I'm crying. I'm like, tears I never felt before, crying in a way I never felt before. So I step into church, I'm crying and crying and crying and crying and crying, and I break down. And then the pastor gets up there, and he's like, some of y'all are plagued by witchcraft. When he said that, I knew God was real, and I said, and he was like, if you want to give your life over to Jesus Christ, I got up there and I gave my life to Jesus that day. And upon giving my life to Jesus that day, he opened my eyes up to Scripture. And he gave me understanding. This was like 2009 or 2010 when this happened. And I told my sister, she got a Bible. She gave me a Bible. And I opened that Bible up when I came back from church, and I could understand what I read. That's how it happened. That's my story. And the thing is, things didn't get better after that. So I'm gonna just end with this. I wanted to go back home. I'm like, man, I know it's like the vision and everything makes sense. Everything that happened to me started making sense. Even things in my life was making sense. I'm like, this all makes sense. Now, you would think when God showed you something like that he wants you to run from it. That wasn't the case. I remember I had not eaten for years, for weeks, right? And I couldn't eat for nothing. And then I was looking at a squirrel. I started being in tune with nature and the things around. I never paid attention to much of nature or insects or birds or the sky or nothing. But this day, after I left that church that day, I'm sitting outside looking and then a squirrel coming across the fence. And the squirrel stopped right in front of me, and he grabbed an acorn or something and started eating. And a voice in my head said, eat. And I ate. My appetite came back. And shortly after that, I was like, man, I got to go back. And my sister knew somewhere to the store. They're like, why don't you want to go back there? I was like, I don't know. I said, I got to go back. I got to go back. I'm like, I just started reading the Bible now. And I called my ex-wife. I said, I need you to come get me. She's like, you sure you ready to come back home right now? I said, yes. She wasn't my wife yet, but she said, are you sure you're ready to come back home? I said, yes, I am. I was still being plagued with stuff in my mind. Now, I talked about this earlier, how when I gave my life to Christ, that I had stuff going on in my head that I couldn't shake. And this after I gave my life to Christ. The thoughts didn't stop. But I was like, he still wanted me to go back. And there lies my story. That's where it began. I could write a book on this and tell you all the things that I went through after I gave my life to Christ. After that, I lost my house, had to move. The spiritual warfare that I was facing didn't go away right away. Because I was being opened up to the spiritual realm. The voices did not go away right away. And I remember when it stopped, and I was like, whoa. And then the thing is, when it stopped, and I'm going to end with this story, and I'm like, tell you this, don't judge me, don't be mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Remember I told you she said she would never cheat on me again, right? So I was trustworthy. I'm like, man, I had my doubts, but Bible tells you to test the spirits. And I already had these crazy thoughts going through my head for years and years and years. And they had finally let up. So I was at that trustworthy phase. I'm like, well, she's a good woman. She would never do that to me. You know what I'm saying? Come to find out she cheated on me. I forgave her. I'm like, why would you do this? You know what I'm saying? But she was still pagan, and I'm still Christian. But I didn't tell you what happened when I first came back. Probably within months of me being back, God told me to tell her to burn her books up, and she did it. One of the most triumphant moments I saw in my Christian walk, to see her burn her witchcraft books. But let's put it this way.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Government Street.
Sometimes the enemy is not stronger than you or stronger than God. It's just some things just got to happen. But anyway, fast forward, my son, I had a son, he was born. We done got married since then, because I started reading the Bible. I was like, the Bible wants me to be married. I didn't care if she was pagan, but I know if I'm asleep with her, I need to be married to her. So I rushed. We got married, and all this and that, and things still didn't get better. And I'm like, golly, man, God, I gave my life to you. I'm trying to do things that's right for you, and I'm still going through this hell and high water. But I never stopped calling on God. I never stopped seeking Him. You understand? But anyway, as I was saying, fast forward, I remember it was like in September of 2012. It was right after her birthday. And she had already cheated on me once. I forgave her. I let her back in, and she said she was going to see her aunt at the hospital. She was going to go with her aunt to the hospital. And something woke me up that morning. Now, this the thing, people. I don't know if it was God. I don't know if it was the enemy. But this is what happened. I woke up that morning probably about 5 in the morning. And I'm like, where is she at? And I looked. She was gone. You know what I'm saying? So I thought she was going to let me know before she left. So I looked, and something told me to look out the door. And I looked, she was sitting at the neighbor's house with her bags packed. And I'm like, hey, come here. You know what I'm saying? And I called her up. And that's why I'm going through my Christian walk now. That's why I tell people it's not going to be a cakewalk when you give your life to Christ. A lot of things got to transpire. Sometimes you got to see how strong you are. So I'm going to keep talking. I know this video going faster than my normal 20 minutes, going a little longer than that. And so if somebody told me to look, so I called her anyway, she come back. And I'm like, what you doing? She's like, oh, my aunt's supposed to pick me up right here. I'm like, something ain't right, man. You're lying. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you're not telling the truth, man. Because keep in mind, she had just cheated on me. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. It was literal cheating because we was married. She had just committed adultery. You know what I'm saying? But I forgave her. But something was like, grab the phone. So I grabbed the phone and she just went hysterical. You know what I'm saying? Give my phone back, this and that. So I was like, I ain't give you nothing back. That ain't what I said. I ain't giving you shit back. I'm cussing. I'm mad. I'm hellified mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I didn't forgave you. So anyway, I'm walking down the street and I opened the phone. It was happened to have no lock code on it, nothing. And she was plotting to meet up with somebody right then. And I started walking away from the house because I'm going to tell you why I walked away from the house. Before anything happened, she had told her mother to call the police. And I'm like, I ain't even did nothing. You know what I'm saying? But you calling the police on me already? You know what I'm saying? So I'm walking back. I'm walking away. I said for the leave before the police get here. Now, I don't know if it was God. I don't know if it was the devil. But some said, go back. So I walked back. And when I came back to the house, you know what I'm saying, I was mad then because I didn't see what she was about to do. And she started hitting me a little bit. And I'm like, At first I withstood it a little bit. Now, we didn't had come to blows before, but she started hitting me a little bit, and all of a know, I know I snapped. And I put my hands on her neck, and I choked her. And I wasn't trying to kill her. I know to this day I wasn't trying to kill her, but I wanted her to feel like she was about to die. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real with you. This is my true testimony. So I let her go. You know what I'm saying? And then I walked away. And then she kind of came at me again, and I did it again. I let her go. But I remember the last time I did it, it was raining outside. And I let her go, and light started shining in the house. Like a light I've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? And right then when the light shined, the police show up. The police walked in. He gently grabbed me, and he walked me to the door, walked me to the police car, and he put me in no handcuffs or nothing. And I'm like, boy, I'm finna be messed up for what I just did. I remember this like yesterday. And the police came back. She said she want her phone. I said, I'm not giving her a damn phone back. She ain't never getting this back. You know what I'm saying? And I went to jail. And I stayed in jail for like 2 days. And during this time period, I believe God was like, it's time for you to go now. You know what I'm saying? And I went back home, but the bonds company told me, hey, you can only go back to get what your clothes. He's like, I'll take you there. But I already made arrangements for my sister to meet me at the edge of town at a service station. So I had all my stuff that I had that she wanted to give me out the house. And I was waiting there, sitting at this service station, and I was communing with God the whole time. And I'm like, what in the world? But a voice in my head kept telling me everything was going to be okay. And I'm like, everything's going to be okay? I'm like, man, I'm losing my family, one of my worst fears in my life, to lose my family. And then the fact that she told me she would never repay me for what I did, it's like, it hurt me so much. I was hurt, traumatized by that. And then I was just hurt about what I did. I never thought I would do such a thing as a man, not only a man, but a man of God at the time. You know what I'm saying? Never thought I would put my hands on a woman in that way. You know what I'm saying? And I remember sitting there at that convenience store, and I remember a small voice in my head said, Houston, everybody who played their part in the separation of your marriage is going to get everything that's coming to them. And I'm going to leave that part for later. But that's just the beginning of my walk with Christ. I was thinking
Turn left onto
all the
Government
blessings going to come up
Street.
for me to be rich. Everything's finna fall in place, but nothing fell in place. I started hating the world more than I love the world when I gave my life to Christ. And I'm kind of still like that now, because nothing has went how I thought. You understand? I learned a lot over the years. Me and my ex-wife, we're back on talking basis since then. That was about 10 years ago. You understand? I'm married again. And I struggle with a lot of things because I know God hates divorce. And I done divorced. And I know God doesn't want you to be married with a pagan wife. But the thing is, I was married to a pagan wife and went through hell. And I'm married with a supposed woman that's supposed to be a Christian. I'm still going through hell and hot water. And I'm like, it must be something wrong with me. But I always look at myself in the mirror first. But it's not always that. And I'm just understanding, Houston, just deal with it. Because my whole Christian walk was based on often have the most calmest, peaceful life I ever had in my life since I gave my life to Christ. And it's been nothing but. So I truly understand the righteous will suffer. I truly understand trials and tribulations. I truly understand a lot of things that the Bible speaks about that a lot of Christians may not go through. But I know in regards to what God has revealed to me, what I call you for, you have to go through this. But the thing is, through all I've been through, my spiritual growth is so stronger and so better now. Because I can look back on my life and see what all God has brought me through. You understand? Not because I'm a perfect man. Because he opened my eyes to the truth. And he don't want me to hate nobody. You see, I see so-called Christians that are evil. And I see so-called people who are non-Christians, Christians who are actually good and righteous. And I got a lot of questions in regards to my father, in regards to these things. And every answer is not going to come to me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I tell people test the spirits. You know, everybody that say Lord, Lord ain't of the God, ain't God, and everybody who don't say it ain't evil. You understand? You just got to pay attention to people's actions and what people do and what people say. You know, and I don't learn how not to judge people on drugs or alcohol or nothing like that. But I
Continue
learned this
on
over
Government
time
Street
through
for 2
walking and
miles.
talking. I tell people all the time one of the top 2 messages I got from God was from 2 men under the influence of alcohol. When he told me not to blend in with the crowd, stand out. And I'm like, how can you do that? But I got the same message twice from 2 random different strangers that I never seen before. And both of them were under the influence of alcohol. But for that moment, that's why I never judge a book by its cover. That's why I don't look at things how a lot of so-called Christians look at things. You understand? I done found more evil inside the church than I saw outside of it. You understand? Since I become a Christian. And this is the God's honest truth, people. This is my testimony. And I got way more stories to tell you than that. Like, I still want to write a book in regards to my life. But I'm like, really, do I need to write a book? I can just talk about it. Because if I put it all in the book, you know, that's just for you to get it right then. But I can use everything I've been through to give Christ glory and Christ the honor. You understand? Because it's not really about me. But I'm just trying to tell y'all people that being a Christian, everything is not going to be smooth sailing. A lot of things ain't going to make sense. Like, I'm married right now. My wife loves God just like I love God. But we still at odds ends. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. You know, I see a lot of people posting like, me and my husband are the best of friends and this and like that. I go to church every Sunday. I didn't try that. I didn't try to go to church for 2 years straight, and I still will come home and argue and fuss and fight. I didn't try not to drink and not drink no more and did it. I didn't stop smoking. I didn't did everything you can think of. Fasted, everything. But some of these things in my life, I'm starting to realize I just got to go through it. Now, that goes back to what I talked about earlier. All things work together for those who believe. So I just accept everything. I accept arguments. I accept when it's joys. I accept when I ain't got nothing. I accept when I got more. I accept everything. Because I truly understand the Bible better now. And that's why I do this. Because I want y'all to know what I know. One of my favorite sayings since I became a Christian was, I want to know what you know. If you know something, let me know. Because I'm going to let you know what I know. And another saying, one of my favorite sayings, is I go with the flow. Not the words flow, I try not to influence too many situations. I go with the flow. Because I don't like making plans. Normally, I only know what I'm going to do for a weekend until the weekend gets here. Because the Bible tells me not to worry about tomorrow. Do you understand? He said, don't say such and such. Tomorrow I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Are you going? I don't know if God wills it. You know, I'm starting to understand why the Bible is written the way it's written. You know, because I really want to be led by God and I don't want to be led by myself. Like the whole time last year when I was separated from my wife, I was going up there to see my kids who happened to be with my ex-wife. And I still never slept with her or nothing like that. But I had good times for that last year going to see my kids because I miss my kids and I love my kids. And I talked about this before. I asked the Lord to never let my kids forget me and never let my kids stop loving me. And during that time frame I was separated from my wife, I went up there and I spent every other weekend with my kids. And I regret it. I don't care what she thinks. She can think what she wants to think. If God didn't want me to go up there, he could have stopped me. But he allowed me to go up there because guess what? God loves his children. I love mine too. And no woman gonna stop that. You know, and I see the problems in regards to divorce. How God says he hates divorce because you got two families coming together that already have families. And I see the issue behind that, people. You see, I just don't, you know, I see it. Because it's always an issue. Always an issue. Oh, your ex-wife, you love her still. I don't hate her. Oh, you want me to hate her because she's a witch and because she's pagan? I don't hate her. I can't hate somebody I once loved. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, just because my new wife claimed to be of God, she could be a mean son of a bitch. Just like I can. I'm just being real with y'all. I don't sugarcoat shit for you. I just keep it real. That's what God wants me to do. He don't want me to be fake like half of these fake ass preachers out there. I'm gonna be as real as I can. Because God has accepted me in my realness. You understand? You might be accepted for being fake, but God doesn't want me to be fake. He wants me to be who I am. I am who you say I am. You know? But that's just my testimony for the day, people. And I just want y'all to keep y'all heads up. You know, a lot of times I do these videos, I done argued like for 6 hours the day before. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. It ain't gonna stop me though. Because I love God. And this is what makes me feel better. And y'all may not understand this, but this makes me feel so happy. I can forget about my problems by talking about my problems. That's why I say you don't need a psychiatrist. As long as I get it off my chest, God's gonna help me out. And He's gonna help you out too. So people, to all those people that's going through trials and tribulation because you gave your life to Christ, accept it. Stop looking for that silver lining. Stop looking for that one day I'm gonna wake up and ain't gonna have no more problems no more. You must don't know where you live. Don't stop believing all those Facebook pictures and stuff that you see on there. Shoot, a lot of people like to hide what they go through. I ain't got no time to hide. Now I don't tell everybody my business, but I believe as people of and men and women of God, y'all need to know some things. So I let you know what I go through, so you won't feel so messed up. Because I'm messed up too. It's a reason why I drink. Because a lot of times I'm weary. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of these preachers want to make you think that they just go through it, or half of them probably hooked on Adderall and Loratabs, but they ain't gonna tell you about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you what my vices are, because that ain't gonna stop me from calling on the Lord. You know, I smoke marijuana every once in a while. I drink almost every day. I smoke cigarettes every day. You know, I use cuss words. You know what I'm saying? Or profanity, because I don't believe a word is a curse.
Take the
word.
next left onto
Do you
Palmetto
understand,
Street,
people?
then turn left
But
onto Chatham
that's all I got
Street.
for y'all, man. I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of testimony so I can know a little something about me. You know, and you'll understand. Like I make music, and you'll understand a lot of things of what I'm talking about, because everything I tell you is no lie. You know, most people ain't finna tell you they choked out their ex-wife. I am. You know what I'm saying?
In 1,000 feet,
Me and my,
turn
I
left
told you I
onto
was gonna tell
Elmira
you about this
Street.
story. My wife gave me a black eye not too long ago. I know she would say, well, if you was a man of God, you would never got a black eye. Well, you must then see what the disciples went through. They got stripes and all kind of things living for God. You know what I'm saying? I just tell you straight up like it is. You know, we got over it. We made it through. So be it. You understand? I'm just being real with y'all. Because the average person ain't finna get rich. Ain't finna have the peace. They're gonna have a peace that surpasses all understanding. I got an inner peace, but in this world, you will have tribulation. I got an inner peace. But far as a lot of things in this world, I stay pissed off a lot of times.
Take
Because
the
of what
next
goes
left
on.
onto Elmira
Not just
Street,
because of
then turn
myself,
right
how
onto
I see
Chatham
other people
Street.
mistreated, you know, for this and that and all that. I see so much, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to live in this world. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not easy. It's only easy through Christ. Does that make sense to you?
In a quarter
I
mile,
just want
turn
y'all to
left onto South
understand.
Ann Street.
Stay at it. Stay at it. Don't let nobody beat you up, and don't nobody judge you because of what you're going through, because you don't go through the same type of problems they go through. You know, a lot of people probably couldn't handle what I went through, but you probably can't. I probably can't handle what you went through, but they don't make us better than each other. We learn from each other. That's why we need to talk about our problems and tell people what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, not just to complain about your household, but to let people know, hey, I'm still a Christian. I'm still standing. I'm still here with Christ. I made it through it all. And I don't even know how this is going to end with my wife, what I got right now. I don't know the end of this story. I ain't trying to know the end of it. I live day to day. We might stay married. We might not. Who knows? You understand? I love her. You know what I'm saying? I still got feelings for my ex-wife. You know? But it's not the same. But I'm just telling y'all the truth. I struggle with these things. You know, like I don't have a child by my wife I'm with right now. That bothers me. And then I see other people have children. I'm like, look, what in the world? You know, then I see my ex-wife just had another child. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Lord, you know I want another child, Lord. Hey, you better start paying attention, Houston. The Bible says the widow has many more children than the person who got children. I just got to pay attention. That's all. Don't worry about it, Houston. If it was meant for you to have a child, you'll have one. You can't make it happen. You can't speak it into existence. Tried that. I found that to be a lie straight from the depths of hell. So people, that's part of me. Now you know about me. I didn't sugarcoat nothing. I told you straight up. You want to know about me? Ask me. And I won't mind telling you. Have a blessed day. Keep God first in your life. No matter what you're going through, don't stop calling on him. Stay seeking him. Sometimes talking about him to the right people, or just talking to him on your own when you're in your vehicle and when you're in your car. You know, a lot of people don't see that what you go through. Oh, you go through that, Houston, because you don't go to church one day a week. If you don't shut the hell up talking to me. Because I went through it when I went to church every week. So you can't tell me, I don't know what you're talking about.
Take the next left onto
I don't know what
South
kind
Ann
of life you
Street.
living. You know, probably because you've been robbing the church so long, you don't have no financial issues like I do. But anyway, it doesn't matter to me. That's them. But I'm going to expose their ass just like I'm going to expose anybody else. And have a blessed day. And if you feel you can expose me, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm a real, true child of God, I'm going to take it, accept it, and receive it. If it's meant for me. Have a blessed day.